Hello, everyone, and welcome to the tutorial series where we answer business questions using SQL. We are using the Northwind database for this exercise, and we have already downloaded the database and uploaded it on our Postgres database. We will be using pgadmin for interacting with the Northwind database. So let's get started with the business question that we have here. And this is about geographic market analysis. Our marketing team wants us to do the following analysis: analyze customer concentration across countries, show countries with at least 5 customers, along with the count and percentage of total customers. Let's get started by understanding and breaking this question into our data analytics terminology. What do we need here? We need customer concentration across countries. Basically, that's the customer count across countries. Sorry for the messy highlight. Now, what do we need to know here are country names, and not all country names, rather, only those countries which have at least 5 customers. Along with that, we need to count the number of customers, and we also need to calculate the percentage of total customers. Either calculate or extract it directly, but most probably the percentage of total customers is not stored in the database, so we'll have to calculate. So let's now move to our database. Let's go to pgadmin and see, first of all, which table or tables do we need for extracting this information, and then we will move on to identifying the columns that we will need and whatever filtering we need to do. So let's move to our pgadmin. Here we have our Northwind database. We look at the schemas and there we check out the tables. We are interested in customers, so we look for a table customers. And here we look at the columns. So we have the customer ID, company name, contact name, title, address is there, which includes city, region, postal code, and country. So yes, customer information is here. The country information is here as well. So most probably this is the table that will be sufficient for us to answer our query. So we can actually check it out as well. So open up our query tool. And let's start by writing a simple query where we display some basic information about our customers table. So we start by selecting everything from customers, and let's give it an alias so that next time we don't have to write customers all the time. We can only write it as a shorthand C. If I run this, we see our data where we have customer ID, company name, contact name, and as expected, the country is there. So let's start by extracting only the relevant information. Let's say we do not want to see everything. We only want to see our customer ID. Company name would make sense. And country would make sense to see. So if I run this now, I see the customers, the companies from different countries. Now, what do we need now actually are not the company name and customer ID, rather we want to count how many customers are coming from Germany, how many are in Sweden, how many are in UK, Mexico, and so on and so forth. So it means that we do not need actually ID and company name. We can either delete this or just comment it out. We are interested in the country and the count of the country. So we can count. Now you have multiple options. You can either count the customer ID directly, or the company name, or you can just count country because you are actually looking for counting the country. And we can actually count is and rename this as number of customers in a country. Let's see what happens when we do this. Let's not forget the comma here, and we run this. And as expected, there is an error, but this is not an expected error. The error actually says that the column c.country does not exist. Perhaps you meant to refer the column c.country, and yes, I have forgotten the quotation marks over here. So it should be fixed now. And now we are getting the error which I expected, which is it is telling me that column c.country must appear in the group by clause or be used in an aggregate function. So I want to remind you here that whenever you are using something in select which is not an aggregation. So for example, this one is an aggregation because we are counting, but this c.country is not an aggregation. We are just writing it in its raw form. It has to be used in a group by clause, which means I need to add a group by clause. And what I need to group by? Again, exactly the variable which I am using over here. So you can use group by c.country. And now if I run this, we see what we expect. So we have a country, Argentina. So we had 3 customers from Argentina, Spain, 5, 2 from Switzerland, and so on and so forth. So our first question or our first step is achieved when we wanted to show countries and the number of customers from those countries. But this doesn't end here. We want to have countries with at least 5 customers. It means we need to have a filtering mechanism. And now, common guesses are we should be using a where clause. Let's see what happens when we use the where clause. When you use the where clause over here, basically what do you want to check? You want to check that when the number of customers or when the count of country is more than equal to 5, then only take those rows. So if I do this, I can use number of customers is greater than equal to 5. Let's see which error do we get. So starting first with as expected there is an error, but the error that we are getting here is it says syntax error at or near where number of customers is greater than equal to 5. So the problem here is whenever you are aggregating something, you cannot use where. You need to use having. So let's use having and let's see what happens now. So I run this, and as expected, the having is not having a problem. Rather, now the problem has moved to number of customers. And the reason for this is right now, number of customers does not exist. Number of customers will be created, this variable will be created when the select clause will run. We will have a look at the order in which a query is executed, but just understand that select runs after having. It means that when we are using having, select has not been executed, which means number of customers does not exist. So we need to use the original count. So now what we have done is select these variables from the customers table, group by country, and the condition is that it is having country count more than equal to 5. Let's run this now. And it works as expected. So now we are only seeing those countries where the number of customers is more than 5. We want to do one quick ordering because it doesn't make sense that our table is totally shuffled. It makes sense if the bigger customers are coming on the top and then we see the other customers. So what do we use here? Order by. And now we can use number of customers, because number of customers or order by executes after select, which means number of customers exist now. And we would like to sort this in descending order. Let's run this. And this looks nice because now we have the country and the number of customers is 13. 13 is the highest one. So we see all the high ones up, all up to above 5. What is left now? The last thing which is left here is to add the percentage of total customers. So let's see how we can do that. What are the two elements that we need for calculating a percentage? We need a numerator which is representing the country count, for example 13 over here, and then we need the total number of elements in the database, which means total number of orders or total number of customers. So 13 plus 11 plus 11 plus up till all the way of all those countries which are below 5 and which we are not counting. So basically we need something where we are counting all the elements in the customers table. Individually, you would write it like this. Imagine we write a query, select, count everything from customers. Let me in fact remove this query for a few seconds and we quickly run this. And when I run this, we see 91, which means there are altogether 91 entries in our database. So basically we will be, let me put this back. Let me cut this off, which means we would like to see for USA 13 divided by 91, Germany 11 divided by 91, France 11 divided by 91, and so on and so forth. So how do we bring that up? And this is where subquery comes in. Let me first just show you how we can add a column with this total information. So let me just add after a comma this query that we just wrote. So if we can include something like this, how would the system react? Let me run this and we see an error. And the error is exactly on line number 6, that select count static from customers is not working. And it will work if we just put this in parentheses. Let's try it now. And it is working. So basically when you write a subquery in parentheses, you can write a complete query, and just like the order of execution, this query will be run before the rest of the query executes. And that's why you see that for each column, this one is not grouping the values by countries. This is executed first. So it is looking at the customers table, counting everything. And then once it's there, then we proceed with the rest of the query, the group by, and so on and so forth. That's why when you are doing the country count over here, it is grouping according to the country because we have specified that. Rather, when we are doing the same thing over here, we are looking at everything before the grouping. Now let's put this into perspective. Now we introduce the division part where we have the calculation of percentage happening. Let's do it like this. What do we need? We need let's say we can use number of customers, and we need to divide it by this value. All right, and then multiply by 100 so that we have a percentage. Let's see if it works. And we get an error because number of customers does not exist. So it makes sense to not use the alias, rather the raw value. Okay. And now we see something, but some problems are there. The column is numeric, but it is giving me all zeros, so something is not right. Let's see how we proceed. One thing which makes sense is the order in which the execution is happening. So it is taking the country, it is dividing it by total number. So an integer 13 is being divided by an integer 91. The answer is coming out to be 0 point something. Since it's an integer, so it is 0. 0 multiplied by 100 gives you 0. How about we change the order? We bring this here, and so the multiplication is happening first and then the divisioning. Let's try it now, and we see some good results. I don't like that it is such a long uh, numeric value, 14.2857. How about we round it off to two digits? We can do a round function here. So for round, we specify what do we want to round, and then after comma, we can specify that we want to round it to two digits. And here, let's see, we get a value which is rounded off to two digits. Again, I don't like that the column name is round. We would like to have a representative column name, which we can do by having an as alias, call it percentage concentration. Ta-da! So now we have what we were asked to provide. We have a geographical concentration of countries specific according to country names. We have the countries where we had more than five customers, more than or equal to five customers, at least five customers. And we also have the percentage for each country. And this was exactly what our business question was about. We wanted to analyze customer concentration across countries, show countries with at least five customers, along with the count and percentage of total customers. So here we saw how we can answer this question using SQL queries and also including subqueries. A quick rundown will tell us the order in which this query is executed. You start by having the from. So SQL executes the query by starting with looking at the table. Then it goes ahead and see if there is any grouping which is needed. It groups. Then comes the having part, and finally comes the selection. After selection, order by happens. In case you have a subquery, that is executed before anything else happens. So I hope this helps. And if you want to look at more scenarios where we answer business questions using SQL, stay tuned.